From Nature Project. My topic is how mosquitoes' mouths are being used for needles in the medical industry. Mosquitoes were brought from Africa to America. Mosquito is Spanish for little fly. They live in water at first and breathe oxygen from the surface, then go to a cocoon called a pupa, then hatch and start feeding off of human blood. They carry multiple diseases such as malaria, canine heartworm, and the West Nile virus. The history of the beginning of its use. Proboscis is the long part of a mosquito's mouth that goes into your skin. It doesn't hurt getting bit, but it itches after you get bit. The mosquito's mouth moves around under the skin in search for blood. It's jagged on the outside and penetrates the skin. For the proboscis to get into the skin, it vibrates at about 15 hertz. History of its use as it developed as an industry. The mosquito's mouth fibers are now being used to create needles that penetrate the skin like mosquitoes' mouths do so that the needles don't hurt at all. This thought created a painless hypodermic needle. February 2010 is when Japanese scientists started testing their thoughts. 2002 is when testing on silicone models became popular. Countries, people, regions, and successes. Kansai University in Osaka, Japan, decided to start replicating the mosquito's mouth, or proboscis, onto needles for doctors to use for taking blood from their patients. Seiji Ayagi created a needle based on the mosquito's proboscis. In his needle, he had created the labrum, which is what takes the blood. His needle also has a jagged outside instead of smooth. This makes it so it doesn't hurt. It was used in a silicone rubber, and there was red dye under it. The needle took the dye as normal, and it ended up working. Serendipity uses. The professor that came up with the idea is named Seiji Ayagi. He came up with this idea by studying mosquitoes and then had his students create a type of needle with the same features of the mosquito's mouth, and it ended up working. Famous commercials. There's this one, the last link, of a guy talking about biomimicry and this specific example. Indications that we need to return to something simpler. The fact that some people who are diabetic have to take blood samples every day, this could help with the pain of it. Needle injuries have been a problem for decades. People can get diseases like HIV and hepatitis C from unsanitary needles. There's around 20 bloodborne diseases that one could have. There is a lack in the manufacturing of new syringe needles that are safe. Changes that have come from safety measures. 2 new other advancement needles named the Vantage Point syringe and the Easy Point needle. Smooth needles leave metal in contact with the skin on an average needle, and this causes pain. Unsanitary needles can cause infection or disease. As a result of the many injuries occurring from needles, there has been 2 other technologies created for better working needles. Vantage Point syringe is retracted from the patient right when the syringe lets out the medicine. The feature locks the needle in the syringe so that it doesn't hurt the patient, using state-of-the-art equipment to build this new material. The Easy Point needle, another advancement by the same company within 20 years of each other. It's friction operated. The needle is held by a ring of friction until released. It prevents fluid leakage, less pain, and cost saving through design. More about mosquitoes. When female mosquitoes bite, they can leave behind viruses and/or parasites that could cause diseases such as malaria. This problem ends up killing thousands of people and hundreds of people and giving illnesses to hundreds others. They can get through skin very easily considering they have 6 needle-like parts attached to their mouths. Also, they have receptors that they know where to get blood from. And these are my sources.